Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for joining me here again on the channel tonight. It is Monday, September the 25th, and we are here to talk about tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw, which was absolutely horrendous. So let's get this started right here and right now on the newest, fastest wrestling podcast in all of YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's get to it, and let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome to the must-see wrestling show on YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. That was a very poor impersonation of The Miz. It sounded better in my head before we went off and did that. How are we doing, everybody? My name is Nick Nightmare. With me, as always, is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball. And we are here tonight to talk to you about Monday Night Raw, which took place somewhere in this country. I don't even care, because there was nothing at all on this show to care about, not even where it emanated from. In fact, the place where it emanated from should be destroyed. Or at the very least, they should never host Monday Night Raw again, because it seemed like there was nobody there to begin with. The crowd wasn't into it, and I can't blame them, given what they had to sit through for the last 3 hours. It was a chore for me on my couch to get through Monday Night Raw tonight, as I'm sure it was for you as well. This show was god-awful. There's no other way to describe it. I just don't understand. I have never seen... I shouldn't say never. You should never speak in such, infinite and definite terms. In recent memory, I have not seen such a weird episode of Monday Night Raw. Maybe it has to do with the fact that we don't have a Universal Champion. Maybe it has to do with the fact that we've seen everybody worth seeing before the 10 o'clock hour. And then you gave us a third hour of nothing. Absolutely nothing. And how dare you, WWE, how dare you have the balls to try to justify putting the Cruiserweight celebration in the main event spot of Monday Night Raw. Are you people out of your mind? You have not put any type of focus on the Cruiserweight division at all since its inception after the Cruiserweight Classic last summer. It has been nothing but a flaming dumpster fire. And you think Enzo Amore being the champion qualifies that to be a main event situation? When was the last time Enzo Amore was in a main event? A main event worth a damn anyway. I can't even remember the last time he was in one with Big Cass. Absolute horrible. Absolutely horrible. I just could not understand how they put this show together. And as I've said before on this show, what I think angers me the most is there's just no structure to Raw anymore. There's no structure. Remember in the good old days of wrestling, and it really isn't even that far, but Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, they used to be planned. And if this is definitely planned and written in advance, it doesn't come off like that. And if that is your intention, to make everything look like it's just happening on the fly, you're making yourself look like assholes. A wrestling show should be booked before you get to Monday. Of course there's a place for a special match or an impromptu match or something goes on backstage and the general manager should be there to justify the situation and rectify what everybody wants to happen, and we'll end this up in a match and you guys settle it between yourself. That's been happening for years. But where's the card? Where's just the regular card? Why aren't we having matches like Elias Sampson versus Dean Ambrose? And things like that just placed on the card. Look, because here's Monday Night Raw. We're going to have all these matches. And that's where you establish your contenders, just by having random matches. You have certain wrestlers go on winning streaks. Certain wrestlers go on losing streaks. You don't overexpose your talent. It's terrible. I don't understand the logic in how they put these shows together. It just comes off as if nobody's doing their job. And by the end of the night, that's absolutely what I believe. That nobody gives a damn. Nobody gives a flying heck about what the hell is going on with this company. It just made no sense from start to finish. From the placing of the matches and the segments, all the way up to and including, as I said before, having this cruiserweight celebration as the main event. Absolutely illogical. There is nothing main event about the cruiserweights. There is nothing main event about Enzo Amore. There was no reason for that to be there. That should have opened the show. If you were insistent on having this, that should have opened the show. What happened to Enzo Amore wasn't going to be on Raw anymore? What happened to all of those reports and everything that everybody was saying about that and all the heat and all the stuff we had to hear about Enzo that Neville was so polite to re-inform everybody? Nobody wants Enzo anywhere. They dumped him on the doorstep of 205 Live. They didn't even want him here, but these guys said, let's give him a chance, and now you're taking a dump all over these guys. What was the point of it? At the very least, if that's how you were going to close the show, you should have had Enzo Amore lay waste to Neville. Instead, what you did was you made this big deal main event champion, this new mouthpiece for the cruiserweight division, look like a chump. He don't look like a champ tonight. It's just another in a long series of continued embarrassments to Enzo Amore. What was the point? Nothing tonight had a point. We started off with Miz TV. Again. And who is the guest tonight, as we were all informed last night during No Mercy? Roman Reigns. And we all know where this is leading. And I was afraid at the start of this segment that by the end of the night, Roman Reigns was going to be the Intercontinental Champion. Because without Brock Lesnar around to have a champion on the show, it's obviously going to be their agenda to put the only belt left on who they feel is the biggest guy. And who's the big dog? Who's the guy? The guy nobody wants to see do anything, Roman Reigns. And then they have the audacity to not even book this thing at the next pay-per-view and allow them to build something. Allow maybe Roman to come out. It was almost there tonight. I'll give him a little credit. He wasn't as bad as he usually is on the mic. It was almost as if he was maybe a little bit more of himself. But why not do that a couple of more times? Let this thing breathe. Let feuds, let things happen. Let stuff evolve over time. No. We're going to have a match tonight. It's going to be a non-title match. Guess what's going to happen? Let's guess what's going to happen when The Miz goes one-on-one against Roman Reigns without the title on the line tonight. A blind monkey could tell you what was going to happen. A blind and deaf monkey that can't speak could tell you what was going to happen. Are you serious? We're going to jump right into this. Okay, so we jump. They have this whole thing on Miz TV. He cuts a half-decent, semi-something of a promo. Roman Reigns does. Gets booed throughout the entirety of the segment. Which is no surprise. It's not even news to tell you guys. Because you already knew that. And this whole segment sucked. It was way too long. It was boring. And what did we get as a prize for sitting through this horrendous segment? We get Kurt Angle coming out. And instead of doing what everybody thinks he's going to do and somewhat reform the Shield, which is what I would have done but not, because reforming the Shield tonight for the Miztourage, you think Roman Reigns needs the Shield, arguably the most dominant three-man faction ever to grace the halls of the WWE. You think he needs to call upon them to beat Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel? Seriously? He doesn't need that. He doesn't need to do that. But what should have happened was, you know what, Miz, you're going to take on Roman Reigns tonight? Your little buddies are going to take on his old friends and let the tag team champions go one-on-one with the Miztourage. That would have been much better. But instead, we get nonsense. We get Kurt Angle coming out and putting his adopted Angle son in a tag team match with a partner in Matt Hardy. Why? Why? If you were going to insist on showcasing him in a tag team situation, why break him away from American Alpha at all? This experiment is a complete failure already. And they're, just like Roman Reigns, they're not going to let it go. Jason Jordan is going to be Kurt Angle's son. And now they put him in a tag team with Matt Hardy. And I was already, as you could tell, somewhat annoyed, but I was getting ready to get into it. And I was like, you know what, let me just sit back and relax. These guys are pretty talented. Let me try to enjoy this match. But I couldn't, because one of my big problems with Monday Night Raw tonight as well is the fact that the bickering that is going on at the announce table is just asinine. It's childish and it's stupid and it takes away from the entirety of the product. Booker T made a valid point, saying that Matt Hardy and Jason Jordan are not a tag team. He is correct. He said they have not teamed together, which is technically incorrect, but his point was true. He was speaking in terms of 2-on-2 competition. He was not forgetting that they were in a 6-man tag, but 6-man tag team competition is not the same as a regular tag team match. That is the point that Booker T was trying to make, and Michael Cole was all over him about it. Oh, well, no, he was actually in Book, you should know, blah, 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 and just got all over him. And first of all, before we go any further, Michael Cole, you bastard, it is not your job to play the heel commentator. That's Corey Graves' job. That's what this man is there for. Why is Michael Cole calling out anybody on anything? Your job is to maintain the story and the narrative of the show. You keep derailing the show by having to correct Booker T. You need, and you feel the need to correct this man. Who the hell are you, the encyclopedia of WWE? You need to have every correct fact because you are the worst at correct facts, Michael Cole. You spewed nothing but garbage for the last 15 to 20 years that I've had to hear your voice. You should be the last person to be getting on anybody, especially when his point was absolutely true. And even Corey Graves would jump in on him, to the point where they would frustrate Booker T, where he feels backed into a corner and now feels stupid and feels the need to defend his point, which was an actually true fact. Matt Hardy and Jason Jordan, as a duo, have never been a tag team. That's what he meant to say. That's what he was referencing. And that's the only thing I remember about this match. Because as I'm trying to focus my attention on what's happening in the ring visually, all I could do is focus my ears and hear this nonsense that is going on. Thankfully, when we came back from the commercial break, that all kind of squashed itself, and I was able to watch the ending of this match, which didn't even matter. Didn't even matter. Absolutely boring. And Bo Dallas of the Miztourage would eat the pin, much like his older brother, Bray Wyatt, because if you're part of that family, I guess you're not allowed to be a winner. Pointless. Pointless. We go on, and this announce team wants to hype up a special look at last night's unbelievable Universal title match. Unbelievable. The only thing unbelievable about that title match is how unbelievably boring it was. And I was not expecting a, spot monkey fest. I was not expecting oh my god moment after oh my god moment. I was expecting a contest between two gladiators. I wasn't expecting to see a one-sided fight where Braun Strowman would pretty much have Brock Lesnar in his grasps, ready to win this match, hit him with his finisher multiple times, and then lose this match. That's what I did not want to see. I did not want to see your typical WWE booking. Just like we seen with Cena and Reigns last night. Finishing move, kick out, big move, kick out, big move, kick out. That's not what I want to see. Wrestle. You don't have to do flips and all kinds of crazy shit. There's an art form, and it's called wrestling. And it's almost like nobody's doing it anymore. And it's never been more evident than in that match last night. That's what's unbelievable, you jackasses. And what's unbelievable is how disappointed I was. I was looking so forward to that. It was the first time in a long time that I felt like a wrestling fan. All right, this is a wrestling match. I'm ready. This is going to be badass. And I got lackluster. Everything here was just nonsense. Elias versus Apollo Crews in a rematch from last night's No Mercy kickoff. If you watched my review of the show last night, you will know that I said Apollo Crews and Elias actually surprised me and delighted me very much. They gave these guys a solid 10 minutes, maybe even more, and they had a great match. Apollo Crews looked fantastic. Elias looked fantastic. 24 hours later, you put the same exact match on Raw. It's a 4-minute absolute piece of garbage. With the only highlight of this match being when Elias actually took out Titus O'Neil. I was very happy to see Titus O'Neil on his back and that Elias took him out because I can't stand Titus O'Neil. And he's dragging down the whole entire character of Apollo Crews. Tonight was a joke. Go back and watch the kickoff match if you don't believe me. And it's not something that I often tell people to do, but go back to last night's No Mercy kickoff show, watch that match, and then compare it to what you saw tonight, and you tell me I'm wrong. Because I'm not. At least in that case. Let's try to suffer through the rest of this garbage show. Finn Balor. Let's get into this. Finn Balor is backstage. He says, I'm moving past all this. I got Bray Wyatt under my belt. This is over. I'm going to set my sights back on the Universal Championship. That's where I'm headed. Fantastic. Good for you. Good. We're going to skip through Kurt Hawkins and Braun Strowman right now, and we're going to get back to Finn Balor. Finn Balor, backstage, later on in the show, would bump into good old Goldust. Immediately, I thought, ugh, please, what is going to happen here? But then I was pleasantly surprised as Goldust started to get a little aggressive and started to accuse Finn Balor of sticking his nose where it didn't belong. And I didn't ask for your help, and I don't need your help, and I don't want your help. Finn Balor was like, hey, look, I consider us friends. We're pretty good friends. I was just looking out for you. If I offended you, I apologize. I'm sorry. Like a man. I'm sorry. Goldust would be like, all right, cool. You know what? You're right. Fits out the fist. Give me a fist bump. We're cool. Apology accepted. And would then lay out Finn Balor. Absolute fantastic. I was very, very excited by this. It was one of the moments for a long, long time with the character of Goldust that actually made me feel like, oh, alright, Goldust, man, let's do this. I want to see this. Absolutely brutal attack in the back, throwing Finn Balor into the equipment, getting right on top of him, beating him down, right? I get all hype. Goldust then does classic Goldust and quotes one of the greatest movies of all time, The Godfather. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. Who has not heard that phrase? It is one of the most iconic phrases of all time. Godfather, 1977. Holy cow, Goldust is back. I immediately took to Twitter. I'm like, evil Goldust is the best Goldust. This has the potential to be great. Please, WWE, do not ruin this. Within minutes, it would be ruined. As later on in the night, it would be revealed that Finn Balor's going one-on-one against Goldust tonight. Tonight. Just like at the beginning of the show, this tag team match was just made. Just out of nowhere. Braun Strowman comes out like we were talking about earlier, lays waste to Kurt Hawkins, who gives a shit about that, and then ends up just fighting Dean Ambrose because he comes out. It just was planned on the spur of the moment, just like that. Finn Balor and Goldust, just like that. They don't even show Kurt Angle make the match. They don't even have anything like that. But this was the wrong move. As soon as they take one tiny baby step forward, they take two giant steps back because this match shouldn't have taken place tonight. You have the opportunity to build and grow upon the story. Much like we were going to talk about with the Roman Reigns situation. But you're not, because you just threw it right at us. This confrontation just happened 15 minutes ago. They're already going to have a match to settle it. And I had very high hopes for this match. I know the capabilities of Goldust. Everybody knows what Finn Balor can do. You put a great veteran like him against a young, scrappy kid like Balor, you're going to get magic. But they didn't even give this match 6 minutes. And they went to commercial right in the minute of it, showing absolutely no respect to these talents and that they don't give a shit about these matches, and the wrestling is secondary to everything. I couldn't even really tell you how good this match was because we didn't see most of it. They're not doing the picture-in-picture like they do on SmackDown Live. So we miss a lot of the action on Raw, and the commercials seem to be double the amount on Raw. I don't know if that's just because there's a third hour. I just feel like there's so many commercial breaks. And then, to make things worse with this Finn Balor situation, Finn Balor would end up winning this match against Goldust, so I guess this is going nowhere now. Something that had absolutely great potential and bright future. Over. Within the 20 minutes after it began. Horrible. And why? For Bray Wyatt's singing children to start singing that stupid song again. We got the whole world in his hands. Are you kidding me? What was the point of last night and Finn Balor wearing his tighty-whities to the ring just to beat Bray Wyatt again? We've seen him beat Bray Wyatt as the Demon. We've seen him beat Bray Wyatt as a man. We've seen Bray Wyatt beat Finn Balor as a man. We've had 3 matches. Finn's up 2-1. What is the point of extending this feud when you had such a better feud with more legs and more ground to run on with Goldust? Something fresh, something old that is new, and would have been a shot of life, not only into the career of Goldust, but into the wrestling career of Finn Balor. Big time failure. Unacceptable. Absolutely horrendous. This show was garbage. Kurt Hawkins, waste of life machine. Get off the television. I hate you. He should be doing all this down in NXT, and I probably wouldn't care so much. But this is awful, and it shouldn't be on Monday Night Raw. At the very least, he should be on SmackDown. This needs to go away. I don't care what your intentions are. Having him have a losing streak is only going to make him continue to be what he has always been, which is a perennial loser. So get the hell out of here, Kurt Hawkins. Apparently, Braun Strowman shares my sentiments as he came out to rid the world of Kurt Hawkins, and hopefully we will never see his stupid face and his retarded mohawk again. Braun Strowman comes out. Kurt Hawkins knows what's up. He takes off. Braun Strowman takes off right after him, catches him in the crowd, puts him through a table, which Hawkins botched, by the way. Guy can't even take a choke slam, one of the most basic of maneuvers. Goes through the table, breaks the table. Braun then continues to give chase, picks him up onto the entranceway, and then puts him through the Titantron screens with a vicious power slam. Braun gets right back up as if he didn't even go through a giant wall, and then makes his way back to the ring, starts screaming about wanting some real competition. Are you kidding me? You just got beat by Brock Lesnar last night. There is no more real competition than that. What is the point of this? And then you don't even give him real competition. You have Dean Ambrose come out, One half of the World Tag Team Champions. Because the tag team division is such shit, we're not even going to feature the tag team champions in a tag team match. Because how many times can we do the same matches? Oh, and Cesaro's got no teeth. So, we can't have that match again, which looked to be what the plan was initially. Are you kidding me with this? Get out of here. I want some real competition. Dean Ambrose comes out. Why? Because he's crazy? Because he's a lunatic fringe? And he's crazy enough to go up against Braun Strowman? Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious? This was dumb. Dumb Ambrose. Not Dean Ambrose. This match was worthless. All for Braun Strowman to win in the end. Of course. So now you have the tag team champion look like a schmuck going up against somebody he knows he's not going to beat. Seth Rollins isn't even with him. It just was stupid. I hated the whole thing. After this whole thing, which accomplished nothing with Ambrose and Strowman, we would get one of the darkest moments in the history of Raw. Kurt Angle's backstage. And Enzo's there with his belt. And he's talking and I'm not listening because I'm done listening to Enzo talk. And he wants a Certified G championship celebration. Certified G for garbage. Right? He wants a championship celebration. I already thought what I told you at the beginning of this show. Why? Why should you get a celebration? Nobody gives a shit about you. Nobody gives a shit about the Cruiserweight title or the Cruiserweight division. Why are we going to celebrate it on Monday Night Raw? To try to garner interest? It's not going to work. To try to gain viewers to the show? It's not going to work. You would have done better to have Enzo in that little segment with Kurt Angle say, hey, listen, tomorrow night on 205 Live I want to have a celebration. How you doing? Right? That would have been much better. Because that would accomplish what your mission is. And it wouldn't take almost 20 minutes if you accumulate all the time wasted on Enzo in this night away from Monday Night Raw and away from the wrestling. But that's not what happened here. Kurt Angle grants him his request and says he's going to have this championship shit. But I did not ever in my life assume it would be given the main event slot. The only moment of the night that I actually somewhat enjoyed was Alexa Bliss in the ring and her little work promo with Mickie James, which I thought was very good. They based it off of some of the stuff that Alexa Bliss said last night on Raw Talk, where she called Mickie James an old lady. All Mickie James wanted Alexa Bliss to do was say what she said last night on Raw Talk for the world to hear. But Alexa kept dancing around it. She wouldn't do it. Mickie was getting more and more aggressive with it. Until finally she just egged on Alexa so much where she was finally like, yeah, fine, I said it. You're an old lady. I don't want you to break a hip. And she was just going off on Mickie James being so much older than she was. I liked this segment. It didn't bother me at all. I enjoyed seeing Mickie James. I think she looked great. I wasn't digging how she was presenting herself previously to this night. That whole Native American vibe and the country girl thing going on. I know this look was still a little country, but she looked good tonight. And against Alexa, she looked great. They looked good in the ring together. I just hope that they get their chemistry back. Now, that being said, here's my concern. My concern here is that the WWE is going to pull the trigger on giving Mickie James a championship match with Alexa Bliss for absolutely no reason. Not that she earned it, but just because she came out and has beef with her. So she's going to end up with a championship match, right? Why would they do this? That's why I'm here to tell you why. Because Mickie James is the only woman on the roster, as far as I know, that has been in the ring with Asuka. And with Asuka coming to Raw, making her debut at TLC, they would probably be looking to put Asuka in a one-on-one situation with somebody she's familiar with, so they will give the title to Mickie James. And then they can subsequently have the remaining 5 women in the division in a ladder match for the number one contendership to the women's title at the TLC pay-per-view. Just like SmackDown did when they had it last year. There you go, WWE. There's your gold. I called it a concern at the beginning because we've been so vocal against the flip-flopping of the titles, right? And the hot potato title effect that has been plaguing the WWE all year. So I wouldn't really want to see that. But when you take into account that the final encounter for Alexa Bliss is going to end up being Asuka, not that I don't think she can have a great match with Asuka, I just don't think it would be as believable of a match. I think people would automatically assume Asuka to win in about 30 seconds, and to do that to somebody like Alexa Bliss at this point in her career might do some irreparable damage to her character and how strong she's been building herself. And a character like Mickie James, who's pretty much a legend in the business, could take that and suffer that, especially that she's been in the ring with Asuka before, like I said, at NXT in Toronto last year. And I think that's the possible direction we may be headed. So that's my one concern, is that they're going to take the title from Alexa. Although it may be the most logical move they could make, or that they will have made all year at this point, just to make the debut of Asuka and the transition to the main roster a much more smooth one. But we'll have to see what road we're going down with this. Rollins versus Sheamus. Seth Rollins versus Sheamus. This match took place, and this is why I say to you, we were going to have a tag team rematch tonight had Cesaro not had two front teeth lodged up his face and into his upper jaw. Absolutely beast. Cesaro, bro, unbelievable. This guy took that shot and then wrestled for more than 10 minutes, bro. It was absolutely something to behold. An absolutely fantastic talent. Cesaro is just unbelievable. And I give him so much respect for that, man. If you would have kicked my teeth into my skull, he pretty much lodged his teeth up into his face, I think I might have quit. But I'm certainly not on the same level as Antonio Cesaro, I'll tell you that much. I didn't care about this match. I spent most of this match trying to see Cesaro's face, as it were. Trying to see the scarring under his lip, trying to see if he got his teeth fixed before the show or if he still had to go do that when the show was over. I just was more intrigued at that than I was at what was going on in the ring. I can't even really tell you what happened. After this match, we had Balor versus Goldust, which we already talked about, and the re-emergence of... I'm sorry, this is Balor meets Goldust in the back when he attacked Finn Balor in the back. After this, 10 p.m. hour rises upon us, and we get Roman versus The Miz. This match, admittedly, was better than Roman's match last night, but that's because he's in there with The Miz, and The Miz is not John Cena. The Miz can actually do this. He's very good at his particular style, and he wrestles very well. However, we have a non-title match here, like we spoke about earlier. So what do you think happened, everybody? Roman Reigns beats the Intercontinental Championship. All of this to lead towards, like I said, him getting his hands on the Intercontinental Championship. And they decided to announce tonight that this is going to take place next week on Raw. So it's only going to be a short 7 days from now where The Miz is going to lose the Intercontinental Championship to Roman Reigns. And I think even more evidence of that is the way the match ended tonight. The Miz and the Miztourage would just end up laying waste to Roman Reigns. Beating the man senseless, even though he got some offense in after the close of the match when the Miztourage attacked. The Miz is down on the floor. They finally gain the advantage. The Miz keeps saying, get on him, and they're just constantly beating him down. Roman Reigns would get the upper hand once again, delivering Superman punches and shit, but eventually the Miztourage would take him down. They would start to leave. The Miz's music would play. And then The Miz would change his mind. And they would make a beeline back to the ring and start attacking the man again. This time, putting him face first with a skull-crushing finale into a steel chair in the ring. Don't know what the point of all that was. To try to make The Miz look like what? Like the leader of a gang? Because it don't make him look very tough. It didn't do anything for The Miz. It didn't do anything for Roman. And this was just pointless. It was just a way to kickstart the road that Roman Reigns is going to find himself on. The rest of the show after this, like we talked about, then was Finn Balor versus Goldust, which I just don't understand why it happened tonight. You built the angle perfectly with the segment. Let it marinate. Let Kurt Angle come out. Let Finn Balor come and bump into Kurt and be like, hey, did you see what happened? And he's like, yeah, you know what? You can have a match with Goldust next week. And then have maybe Goldust find a way to cheat to win if he's going to be the heel. Keep babyface Balor. That was so hard to say because there's too many B's in there. Keep babyface Balor going against the heel, trying to overcome him. Something like you were going to, I think, try to do with Bray Wyatt. And stop with the victories. Trading back and forth, this guy this week, this guy that week. By everybody being at a 500 record, nobody's truly great. If you win one week and lose the next week and then win the next week and then lose the next week, you're not great. You're average. That's Charlotte's problem. And Sasha's problem. They're portrayed as average even though they really are great. Because they win this week and then they lose here. Charlotte wins at the pay-per-view, she loses Monday on Raw. And then Sasha wins it and then loses it on Raw. It's a nonsensical circle that we keep going around. This show had 40 minutes to go when the Balor Goldust match began. And they gave that match 6 minutes, like I said. Then they gave the majority of the rest of the night to a senseless and useless women's tag match. Because, again, we had Alexa and Mickey in the segment before. Let's take the rest of the field of women and throw them in one match. Instead of putting Bayley against Emma, or Sasha against Emma, or Bayley against Nia, or any combination of the two to try to start establishing who's the number one contender at some point. But we don't do that anymore. We just make matches on the fly all night. Kurt Angle sitting in the back on his fucking phone instead of taking care of business on the show. Right? That's what we get to see every time we see Kurt Angle or Daniel Bryan. They're on their phone. Gotta be on the phone. They should be on the phone worrying about the match card. Not literally on the phone. Who the hell are they talking to anyways? Everybody always talking to Vince? I don't understand. Vince don't know they got a show to run? Who the hell's calling these guys while they're at work? Give me a break. Let the GMs do their job. Have a match card set before we get to Monday and Tuesday. I don't even know who won the women's tag match. I stopped watching. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. And I don't got nothing up here in front of me pulled up to show me or tell me the results because I don't fucking care. It's just reached a point where everything makes no sense. Why is this happening at 10:30? Why is the last thing I'm going to see tonight a beaten down, broken up Cruiserweight Championship? Cruiserweight champion, rather. What was the point? What were we watching? I don't know where this company's going. I don't know what road we're on, other than the fact that with Brock Lesnar being gone and Roman being positioned the way he's being positioned, it's looking more and more, much to my dismay, that WrestleMania 34's main event is set and locked in stone. And once Roman Reigns gets his hands on the Intercontinental Championship, he will not drop it. Because you can't beat Roman Reigns while we're on the road to WrestleMania, which apparently begins now in the summertime. Or at least at this point. Road to WrestleMania used to begin after the Royal Rumble. Then we used to start worrying about that. But we have all the pieces in play right now on September the 25th. Roman Reigns is lined up to win the Intercontinental Championship. Brock Lesnar's going to be gone till January with the Universal title. And they will meet again face to face champion versus champion. Can't make it any bigger. Right? We gotta make Roman Reigns win it all. Right? Is that the plan? Because it sucks. Nobody wants this. You had 2 prime opportunities to set the ship right. Samoa Joe, you passed. And now Braun Strowman, you passed on it. Absolutely no reason why Brock Lesnar couldn't come back when he was slated to come back and then challenge for his rematch and regain the World Heavyweight Championship, or the Universal Championship rather, if that's truly what you really need to happen for WrestleMania 34. But for the next few months, let's have a champion. And now you're going to take the only championship we have that we care about away from us because you're going to give it to the guy nobody wants to be champion. Raw is a failure. The WWE, you are all failures. Every single person that put pen to paper to this show tonight, I hate you. And you should find another line of work, because writing and booking wrestling shows, it's not your forte, pal. Oh, but I forgot. That's not what Vince wants, right? We don't want to write wrestling shows. We're writing television. We're entertainment now. But they can't even get that right, because for 3 hours, all you did was aggravate me. You didn't entertain me, not one bit. The state of wrestling is awful when it comes to the WWE. You want to call me a mark? You want to say whatever you want to say about me? That's fine. I don't care what you think. If you don't agree with me, you're allowed to not agree with me. You're still allowed to be here with me and be a fan of this show, and I accept everybody's opinion. But remember, I'm always allowed to have mine. And that's my opinion on tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. We got a Wrestle Crate today. We're not going to do it now because we're at 42 minutes on this video, and I wanted to try to wrap this up in a half an hour, as I want to do every Monday night, but we just can't because it's Raw and there's just always so much to go through. So we're going to finish this up, and then we're going to go and unbox that, and we will post that up later on this morning after this. So keep your eyes out for that Wrestle Crate unboxing with a couple of little news stories that I haven't touched upon yet, and we'll do breaking news and some unboxing. So make sure you keep your eyes here for that. My name is Nick Nightmare. This, as always, is the World Heavyweight Champion of microphones, Blue the Snowball Microphone. And that's going to do it for us in this Monday Night Raw review. And we are out of here. And we will see you next time, right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Have a good night, y'all.